Welcome, everybody. As always, it's your Sports Guy Clif here giving you the hottest news in the sports. And I'm coming live to you directly from the Skybox. And on this episode, I have two things I want to talk about. One in the world of basketball and the NFL playoffs. But first, we're going to talk a little b-ball action. So just recently, I'm pretty sure everybody known that there was a confrontation between the Los Angeles Clippers and the Houston Rockets after their recent game. Now, I want to talk about this fight a little bit. Yeah, I don't want to talk about the game. I'm not going to talk about stats. I'm going to talk about people being and exhibiting being weak. You know, when it comes to this confrontation thing, first of all, we're talking about Austin Rivers. He wasn't even playing. He's on the sideline in a suit because he's hurt. That's pretty weak. And he's talking trash to Trevor Ariza while he's actually in the game trying to play. That's what started up everything. And through the game, we saw some scuffles between Blake Griffin and Chris Paul. Even between Blake Griffin and Mike D'Antoni, the coach, he felt like Blake Griffin ran into him. And Trevor Ariza got into it, and Gerald Green got into it. And then it was just all kind of chippy stuff going on during the game. But after the game, there were players from the Houston Rockets that used a secret passage tunnel to get into the Clippers locker room. Well, how did they know about that? Well, remember, Chris Paul, this is his first year with the Rockets, and he used to play with the Clippers, so he knew about the secret passage, but the person that was leading and initiating this thing was Trevor Ariza. They get to the back door secret entrance to the locker room, and DeAndre Jordan is back there, and he's like, nah, I ain't letting y'all in. I ain't having that. Meanwhile, at the front door of the locker room, you had other members of the Houston Rockets trying to get in. So wait a minute. What kind of image is this displaying? And why are y'all using secret passages? You telling me none of y'all guys got y'all phone number that y'all could just settle this dispute like grown men? And even if y'all needed to take it to the grass and knock a couple heads or something like that, y'all could do that outside of the arena on your own time. But Chris Paul, you're going to use that secret passage against the Clippers, your former team. I don't care what kind of problems that you had when you were there, because remember, it was because of Austin Rivers and the way Doc Rivers seemed to give him a few kudos and a few boosts because he's his son that caused a few problems between Doc Rivers and Chris Paul. But I'm just trying to understand, what would make you try to go to the locker room? Let's say you 3 or 4 players that took the secret route got into the locker room. You're immediately outnumbered. It's not going to be good for you if the whole team decides to fight. And if that front door stayed locked, you never were going to have your comrades coming in to make it an even fight. So I'm just really trying to understand. And I'm no tough guy, but those guys aren't tough guys either. There's few players in the NBA that were actually raised on the streets. You know, these guys been pampered for a long time, but I guess they got to have their chest stuck out for something. So it resulted in a few suspensions, Trevor Ariza, Gerald Green, and maybe a fine or 2 here and there. But either way, I think it's just a big display of weakness. Austin Rivers, if you're not in the game, be quiet. Hey, Chris Paul, I understand you might want to confront those guys, but don't use a secret entrance, man. And last but not least, we heard the police were called. I don't even want to know who called the police on another grown man because you can't handle your situation. But hey, that's what those guys did, and I'm sorry that I couldn't talk about something on court. We had to talk about something off the court. Now, moving on to the NFL and the upcoming playoff games that we have for the AFC and NFC title games. We're going to find out who's going to win and go to the Super Bowl. So I'm going to give you a little analysis on both matchups, and then I'm going to give you who I feel is going to make their way to the Super Bowl. So starting off in the AFC, we got the Jacksonville Jaguars and the New England Patriots. Now, there's some people out there that won't give the Jaguars any chance against the Patriots. Why? Because they have Tom Brady at quarterback. Now, look, I'm not a big Tom Brady fan, but the man is very successful and has had an illustrious career in the NFL. And he's been teamed up with his head coach, Bill Belichick, and they've made 7 trips to the Super Bowl. I mean, hey, man, that's quite good. But that's okay, though, because they only won 5 times. That's a short number. 5 titles is very, very good. But another person that's going to be very instrumental in the success of the Patriots will be Rob Gronkowski. He's a matchup problem for anybody in the opponent's secondary. The guy's big, he has good hands, and in the red zone, he becomes a scoring touchdown threat. Now, for the Jacksonville Jaguars, they've been riding on their defense all season. It's probably the best defense. And as far as having playmakers, yeah, the best one in the league. So look out for them to have to make opportunities to get the ball and make big plays against the Patriots. They're led by all-world cornerback Jalen Ramsey. The dude is just awesome, but they have talent at every level. But the big question mark about the Jacksonville Jaguars is the play of Blake Bortles at quarterback. Are they going to be able to have enough out of him to be able to win the game? We already know the running game's solid with Leonard Fournette. He's done his thing all season. He even did his thing against the Pittsburgh Steelers. But Blake Bortles, what are you going to do? You know Belichick is going to scheme to take away the running game. Do you have enough in your arm and your legs to lead the Jaguars to the Super Bowl? We'll see. Now, over on the NFC side, a really good matchup between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Minnesota Vikings. Now, the Vikings has gotten inspired play from Case Keenum all season at quarterback. He's great. He's been doing a lot of good things. He's been connecting with Stephon Diggs at the wide receiver position. He was the guy that had the walk-off touchdown reception, if you want to call it that, against the Saints. Those guys have been doing an excellent job, and they're backed by great Minnesota defense. I dare call them the purple people eaters of 2017, 2018. Look for that team to be ready to go. Now, the Philadelphia Eagles, when Carson Wentz went down, I said, you know what? Those guys aren't going to make it to the Super Bowl. I figured they'd get to the title game, but they're going to need some good play out of Nick Foles. And I don't know if they're going to be able to get it. He hasn't shown all of his potential as a veteran in the league coming in for Wentz. They've kind of been coming up short. But again, the Philadelphia Eagles are a very complete team. On that offense, they acquired Jay Ajayi at running back, and he's come in and given them a spark on offense. But that defense is very serious. It's anchored by Fletcher Cox on the defensive line. Those guys are poised to possibly to get to the Super Bowl. So I know you're wondering, Cliff, all that talking, who do you have going to the Super Bowl? I'm hoping for a Minnesota Viking versus the Jacksonville Jaguars Super Bowl. I believe those are the 2 best teams that's been playing so far this season. Yeah, the Eagles, I don't think they're going to have enough because they're going to miss Wentz. And I'm just really hoping that the Jacksonville Jaguars can capture their opportunity and get a big win over the New England Patriots to go to the Super Bowl. And I'll wait to give you my Super Bowl prediction. We'll see who make it there first before I go that far. But hey, you may disagree with me. You may think that somebody else is going to make it to the Super Bowl. You may think that it was an okay reaction for the Rockets to respond that way to the Clippers after their game. Either way, I want to hear from you. I want you to view this video. And right after that, leave me a comment so I can respond to you, so I can see what you want me to talk about. But as always, until next time, it's your sports guy Cliff giving you the most right here from the Skybox.